Hi, Tyler. Thanks for coming in today. I'm glad you made it.
No problem.
So, before we begin, I just want to go over your expectations of these next couple sessions. What are your goals and what are you hoping to achieve?
I guess my expectations are to really get some stuff out, run it by someone to see if what I'm feeling is normal or not.
Okay. Can you explain to me what sorts of things, that you're having issues with?
I'm a stay-at-home father.
Okay.
Um, I feel strange about that. It's a new experience for me, obviously, but to be out of the workforce, to be out of um, a providing role, and I have negative feelings towards myself. So I guess I need some, I have to find a new way of thinking about it. And I'm ultimately here. So my way of thinking doesn't affect my son.
Okay. So, you feel strange about maybe the stigma behind being a stay-at-home dad because they're stay-at-home moms, and that seems very normal to society. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I'm culturally influenced. It's more of, I started working when I was 15, went into the military, did several years there, constantly was working, got out, worked, went to school, um, just thought I was going places for my career, and then I have these natural instincts where I feel like I need to go kill something and bring it home and provide. And I guess in a sense I am providing, but I can't get past that I'm not out there doing something.
Working like a 9 to 5, bringing home some sort of income. Is that what you mean?
I guess so. I guess I don't really even know.
So, you being a stay-at-home dad, that is a choice. That is something that's functional for you and your family.
Absolutely. I mean, I very much enjoy raising my son and being able. I feel privileged, but at the same time conflicted. You know, I choose to stay home. It works out for my wife and I, for her schedule, for all around. It's beneficial, but I still struggle with accepting that role. And I give everything I have to him and the family, but I guess I still have my own aspirations. And I'm a very selfless person, but my aspirations don't mean like to put them behind me or do something. It just means I need to do something while I'm doing this. That's how I feel. Like I can do something else while doing this.
So, you feel like you're having a hard time adjusting to this role of being a stay-at-home parent, where you have been so used to being a provider in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years now, actually, and I feel as time goes on, it's easier to adapt, and the why behind it makes more sense. But instinctually, I still struggle with myself. Like,
So, sorry, I didn't mean, wasn't trying to interrupt, but you said that you feel conflicted, and you have like negative thoughts about yourself. Could you maybe elaborate a little bit more on the negative feelings that you have about yourself?
going back to what you said about the culture, it's if someone asks me what do you do, and I tell them I stay at home, it's it almost can come off as a form of humiliation because it is kind of a newer thing for the men to assume the role of a stay-at-home parent, and a lot of it hasn't. really been embraced by the culture. You know, I feel a lot of women out there don't even feel like they don't even need men. They want to do it on their own, which I think that's fine, but it's always been looked at as like a man's responsibility to provide.
Now, you feel humiliated because you're not defined by a career, or you feel like you're adjusting to your role, accepting your role is what's humiliating. What part are you humiliated by?
Probably both, really. Maybe there's more to it than that, but up until I was in this role, I never really knew what a stay-at-home parent went through. There's a whole new level of respect that I have for the moms and the dads that stay at home. It is a full-time job, and you do bring extreme value to the home.
Sure.
But I feel like a lot of people, man or woman, don't really understand that until they've lived it.
Sure, it's a lot of responsibility, and it is very selfless, like you said, to put your wants and needs, your aspirations kind of on hold, until you decide either to go back to work or to find a career. Do you have any sort of idea or like a plan? Do you plan to stay home indefinitely, or maybe once your son is of age?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure yet.
It just depends on what happens.
Okay.
I have goals, but
sure.
I'll put him first. So whatever I have to do in that manner.
Well, what I'm gathering so far is that you are very selfless, and it sounds like being in this role, whether it's temporary or permanent, it's something that's functional for your family. And I just want to say that I applaud you for doing that. It does sound like you have a little bit of difficulty with the way that you personally view your situation.
A little bit. I mean, what I did in the military was a very high-paced, high-stress kind of environment. I was in the infantry, and the role once I made E5, it was very it was always demanding, but the responsibilities that I assumed, I actually enjoyed, and I thrived in that kind of environment, and as my son gets older, it's very fast paced as well. But it's hard to just go from something like that to this and transition. I've kind of done it probably the wrong way. I should have sought help for some things I was dealing with once I discharged, but I didn't because I was a very prideful person. Didn't think I needed the help, but I knew deep down that I did. So I guess that goes back to why I'm here. It's just to see if I'm making, if I'm thinking too much into it, or if I'm not.
Sure. And what I'd like to do, is assist you with that. And I think that it sounds like you have sort of this negative, like a negative image about yourself and your new role. Maybe deep down you have sort of like an expectation that you were supposed to be doing something different, and where you are now is raising your son, not quite what you had imagined. So if you're okay with some homework, what I would like to suggest is a book. So that way for the next session, maybe you've read through the first chapter, you've written down some questions, you've had any issues or anything that you would find similar that you've been feeling, you might find some of those examples in the book. So for the next session, what I'd like to do is go over that first chapter with you, if you're open to that. That way we can sort of get around what it is that you're feeling, your negative image, and then kind of give you a different perspective. Because from an outsider looking in, it does sound that like you have a meaningful relationship with your wife. It seems like you are doing your part and she's doing her part. It sounds like you have a home. You are selfless in everything that you're doing. So you have a lot of positive things going on in your life that if you maybe took a step back and focused less on the negative, you might have less trouble envisioning that negativity about your own personal beliefs. So if that's okay with you, I'd like to give you this book. If you could read the first chapter, make any notes, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.